Good morning, I'm James Gruber and welcome to the morning report for Wednesday the 18th of March. Well, markets are still dominated by news out of the Middle East. Overnight, renewed Iranian attacks on the United Arab Emirates heightened concerns about the worsening outlook for global supplies, leading to higher oil prices. That offset news that Israel had killed Iran's top security official. While markets eye Iran, they're also watching the US Federal Reserve ahead of its decision on interest rates on Wednesday US time. Money market swaps suggest a 98% chance that the Fed keeps its target rate at 3.5 to 3.75%. Let's get into what's on the cards when our share market opens later this morning and with commodities and currencies. The Australian share market is poised to edge up with index futures higher by 0.1%. As for the ASX 200 yesterday, it closed up 0.4% to 8,614. It was led by gains in miners and financials after the RBA raised interest rates as expected, while a narrowly split vote tempered expectations of another near-term increase. Financials rose 0.6%, extending gains to a third straight session, while real estate stocks added 1%. Miners climbed 1.1%, helped by firmer bullion prices and gains in gold stocks. Coal miner New Hope fell 6.4% after reporting a sharp drop in first half profit as weaker coal prices weighed on earnings. Energy stocks dipped 0.7%, underperforming the broader market. Pepper Money slumped more than 14% after investment manager Challenger lowered its takeover offer for the non-bank lender. Getting back to that RBA decision, the central bank raised its cash rate by 25 basis points to a 10-month high of 4.0%, citing rising petrol prices linked to the Middle East conflict as a risk to inflation. The narrow 5-4 vote cut market odds of another hike in May to about 55% from roughly 70%. CBA economists are forecasting another rate rise in May, though concede it's a line ball decision. Moving to commodities and back to those oil prices, Brent crude rose 3.2% higher to $103.42 a barrel, on the broadening Iranian attacks potentially impacting oil supplies. Gold futures were slightly higher on Tuesday as markets tracked Iran tensions and awaited the Federal Reserve decision. The futures settled up 0.1% to $5,008 an ounce. Base metals were mixed. Copper futures fell 1.1% as the Iran war and rising inventories stoked demand fears. Meanwhile, aluminium futures gained 0.1%. And iron ore futures firmed as demand for finished steel products in China recovers. Futures were 0.4% higher at $105.77 a tonne. Let's look at currencies. The Aussie dollar was last trading up 0.6% to 70.14 US cents on improved risk appetite. Let's go back a step to see how Wall Street and other world markets did. The Dow Jones index finished 0.1% higher, the S&P 500 index was up 0.3%, and the Nasdaq index gained 0.5%. There are some developments worth highlighting. US share markets were higher on Tuesday as investors awaited that Federal Reserve decision on interest rates in the face of rising energy costs due to the Middle East conflict. Fuel cost-sensitive airlines and travel stocks that have faced the brunt of the sell-off got some relief after carriers Delta and American Airlines raised their revenue guidance for the current quarter. Delta Airlines gained 6.6% and American Airlines rose 3.4%. Other travel stocks such as Norwegian Cruise added 3.3% and Expedia advanced 4.4%. The rate-sensitive financials index gained 0.5%, rebounding from sharp losses in the week before, when worries over private credit quality rattled investors. Asset managers Blackstone and Apollo Global climbed 5% and 6% respectively. Honeywell International slipped 1.4% after the industrial giant said the conflict could impact its first quarter revenue. Among others, Eli Lilly lost 6.4% after a broker downgrade. And ride-hailing app Uber added 5% after announcing plans to roll out robo-taxis in 28 cities starting next year, powered by NVIDIA's autonomous driving software. To the European markets, the continent-wide FTSE Euro First 300 index finished 0.7% higher, while the UK FTSE 100 advanced 0.8%. European markets rose as investors weighed the economic fallout from the prolonged conflict in the Middle East and the European Central Bank's interest rate decision later this week. Italy was among the best performers, up nearly 1%, while Germany's share market was flat after German investor morale declined more than expected in March. Utilities, a traditionally defensive corner of the market, advanced 1.6%. Energy stocks also stayed firmly in favour. Shell rose 1% as crude prices held above $100 a barrel. Meanwhile, defence stocks, which had rallied over the past 3 weeks, pulled back on the day, weighing on the index. So what are we watching for this week and particularly today? Well, besides monitoring developments out of the Middle East, in Australia, economic releases include the Westpac leading index for February, with a forecast rise of 0.2%. In the US, as mentioned, there's the Federal Reserve decision on interest rates on Wednesday, US time. Also, there's economic data including producer prices for February, factory orders for January, and durable goods orders for January. And that's it for today. For further developments on the local trading session, please tune into the CommSec Market Update podcast this afternoon, and of course, the Market Close video. Have a great day.